What's up, Niner Gang? Today, the vibe in the Bay is all about sky-high expectations because we've got major updates on the offense, the secondary, what's happening behind the scenes in the locker room, and even a public jab at a national analyst. There's a key piece coming back, a possible market move that could change the entire defense, a huge decision in the quarterback room, and a John Lynch quote that's going to fuel debates late into the night. You won't believe how all of this connects for the rest of the season. So sit down, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's dive straight into the news because things just got real. And while everybody is freaking out over the bigger picture of the season, there's one piece on offense that could completely flip the script as soon as this Sunday. You know, that type of player who, when he disappears, you suddenly notice the playbook shrinking, the coordinator calling more conservative plays, and the quarterback always looking just a step late. In Santa Clara, that domino effect has had a very clear name over the past 6 weeks, and the truth is his absence really exposed the limits of this passing game. We're talking about the return of Pearsall, the wide receiver who started 2025 playing like a true WR1 for the 49ers. Before the injury, he was Brock Purdy's go-to guy on third down, in tight situations, on those contested throws where either your receiver is ice cold or the drive dies. Pearsall came off an almost perfect training camp, practically unguardable in drills, creating separation on short, intermediate, and deep routes, building a ridiculous level of chemistry with Purdy. When he went down, it wasn't just one less name in the rotation. The entire structure of the aerial attack had to be patched together. Juwan Jennings, Kendrick Bourne, Demarcus Robinson, Sky Moore, and even rookie Jordan Watkins had to step out of their comfort zones, take on volume, and learn the hard way how to live as temporary focal points in key moments. And the wildest part is that, even with the backup quarterback carrying the load for most of this stretch, that group managed to keep the team alive in the race. Now picture all of that coming together. Purdy returning, Pearsall back lining up all over the field, the confidence of the receivers who grew without him, and the defense being forced to pick its poison. Do you roll coverage toward a guy who's almost impossible to cover on option routes? Do you pull your safety out of the middle to double the strong side? Do you lighten the box and risk getting gashed on the ground just to avoid a deep shot? That's exactly the kind of stress a wideout at this level puts on a defense. Kyle Shanahan made it clear in his interview that this isn't just about stats. Even when the ball doesn't go Pearsall's way, the gravity he creates forces defenses to adjust and opens things up for everyone else. More spacing, more passing windows, more comfort for Purdy in the pocket. And if Pearsall comes back anywhere close to the rhythm he had before the injury, we might be about to watch the 49ers offense take another step, just as the season hits its most decisive stretch. If the offense already gets you excited just thinking about Pearsall coming back, the defense raises a much tougher question. Can you really keep dreaming about a Super Bowl with the secondary stretched this thin? Every week there's a scare, a little injury, some last-second adjustment, and red and gold fans are watching every deep ball with their hearts in their throats, knowing that one blown coverage can turn into a primetime collapse. Renardo Green recently dealt with a physical issue. Diamador Lenoir is now battling a calf injury and might miss time, and suddenly guys like Darrell Luter Jr. are thrown into starting snaps in critical moments. That's exactly the kind of situation where a true contender usually snaps out of neutral and makes a surgical move. And that's where one name starts gaining momentum in every conversation: Stefon Gilmore, former Defensive Player of the Year, still on the open market and very clear that he only wants to play for a real contender. Even at 34, 35 years old, he's still at the top of every best available CB list. It's not just respect for what he did in the past. Last season with the Vikings, he started a full slate of games, made over 50 tackles, broke up passes, picked off a ball, and more than anything, showed up in big-time moments. He's the kind of veteran who doesn't just show up to fill out the depth chart. He forces opposing offenses to rethink what they're doing. The question echoing around Levi's Stadium is inevitable. Why not put that guy in red and gold? On top of that, the 49ers defensive system, full of zone match concepts, route reading, and quick reaction to how plays develop, is almost tailor-made for an experienced corner who's physical at the line and extremely smart. With a veteran like that running communication on the back end, you'd expect fewer coverage busts, fewer receivers running free, and a lot more confidence for the front seven to pin their ears back and go. Financially, we're not talking about something crazy. A short deal through the end of the season, modest base salary and incentives for snaps, production, and playoff impact fits perfectly with a roster that's already expensive but wants to squeeze everything out of this window. For Gilmore, it's a chance to jump right back into the heart of the playoff race. For the 49ers, it's the perfect message to the NFC. We know exactly where it hurts, and we're not waiting for the season to slip away before we fix it. And while fans are busy imagining this secondary with a former DPOY walking in to stabilize everything, there's another debate heating up in the background, and it involves the one position that hits every franchise right in the emotions. While all that talk about reinforcing the defense is taking over social media, the quarterback saga just picked up a chapter nobody thought would arrive this early. Because in the middle of all this controlled chaos of the season, a name many people had already labeled as just a backup started drawing a very different kind of attention. And it's not just in Santa Clara. There are people outside the Bay Area tracking every snap, every read, every drive. And that opens up a conversation that always rattles a fan base: market value. Mac Jones, a guy a lot of people doubted would ever really have a lane again in the NFL, is rebuilding his entire career wearing red and gold. And that's not exaggeration. With 8 starts while Purdy was rehabbing that turf toe, Jones showed accuracy, poise, quick processing, and most importantly, the ability to keep the 49ers in the playoff hunt in a critical stretch. Ian Rappaport was blunt when he said Jones reestablished himself as a starting quarterback who can win games, and in a year with a shaky quarterback draft, that's gold. That's where things heat up. Jones is under contract through 2026. That means security, low cost, and predictability. 3 magic words for teams desperate for a steady hand at quarterback. And according to Rappaport, there are franchises ready to pick up the phone the moment this season ends. I mean, what team wouldn't at least consider a young quarterback with experience, playoff background, and fresh tape proving he can carry an offense? At the same time, Shanahan has made it very clear this isn't just about price tags and demand. He's gone out of his way to praise Jones's technical development, leadership in the locker room, and how quickly he absorbed the 49ers' offensive system. Inside the building, they know Purdy is the starter, and that has never really been up for debate. But they also understand how valuable it is to have a backup who can come in and keep the standard high without the entire offense falling apart. Very few teams have that luxury. So the big question for debate becomes, is it worth trading him? Is it smart to walk away from that security? Or is the right move to keep one of the best QB2s in the league, fully aware that any injury at that position can turn into disaster if the next man up isn't ready? The fan base is split, insiders are watching closely, and behind the scenes, this has already become a hot topic. And if you think the mood in the front office was already intense, wait until you hear what John Lynch said in his latest interview, because there was shade, confidence, and a very clear message about the Niners' immediate future. Right in the middle of this whirlwind involving the offense, the defense, and the future of the most important position in sports, the front office decided to jump into the conversation and did it in a way only somebody with real gravitas can. With class, a touch of irony, and a very clear message for the talking heads. John Lynch, who's always been straightforward without losing his sense of humor, joined KNBR and dropped an answer that almost instantly went national. The host asked about comments from Tom Brady, Richard Sherman, and Dan Orlovsky, all publicly pushing the idea that the Niners should ride the hot hand and keep Mac Jones as the starter. Even with Purdy coming back, Lynch's reaction was one of those where you can practically hear the smirk. He praised Brady, praised Sherman, and then slipped in, "I'm not sure Orlovsky played at that high a level, but he talks at a high level." It was a light shot, but a precise one. The kind that makes the fan base laugh and think, okay, message received. And it's not just about poking an analyst. The real message was in everything that came after. The 49ers are not going to follow TV opinions. They're not going to get dragged around by external narratives. And they're not going to scrap their plan just because someone yelled louder in a studio. This team believes in its process, knows both quarterbacks inside and out, understands exactly what each one brings to the table, and feels completely comfortable saying that if Purdy is healthy, he's playing. Period. Lynch doubled down on how strong the quarterback room is, how exceptional a job Jones did while he was in the lineup, and how the internal discussion was never really about who's better, but about who's available, a philosophy that has guided this franchise for a long time. And when he admitted that Purdy has a real shot to play on Sunday, depending on how that toe responds in practice, he exposed another layer of this story. Jones is not viewed as a threat. He's viewed as an asset. He's the guy who helped hold everything together when it looked like the season might unravel. That also explains why so many people around the league see him as a legitimate trade target. That statement from the GM, combined with the jab at Orlovsky, spread across social media like gasoline on a fire. Fans arguing, analysts clapping back, everyone picking sides in a debate that in practice is already settled inside the building. And it's exactly this balance between security, stability, and ambition that's going to define how the rest of the season plays out. At the end of the day, faithful, everything we've talked about shows exactly why the 49ers are still alive, dangerous, and ready for anything. Pearsall's return reignites the offense. A potential move for Gilmore could lift the defense. Mac Jones' rising value opens important doors for the future, and John Lynch's firm stance makes sure nobody outside the building is steering this franchise. It's one of those moments where every piece starts falling into place, turning this team into a more mature, more complete, even hungrier contender. And now I want to hear from you. Which of these storylines hit you the hardest today? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's ride this out together until the very end.